Good morning, everybody. It's Congressman Jamie Raskin coming to you from my office in the Rayburn House office building. Hello to all of my friends out in Maryland's beautiful 8th Congressional District. It's a rainy day and it's a good day to talk about taxes. So welcome to our 2024 tax season resources and IRS information session. I am very happily joined by Veronica Tubman, who's the senior stakeholder liaison at the IRS. And Keishon Russell, who is Maryland's local taxpayer advocate, and also my director of constituent services. You can see here on the screen, Erica Fuentes, who's going to be moderating our conversation after I give this brief introduction. And not only is Erica conceived of and planned this whole event, but it's her birthday today. So everybody, please wish her a happy birthday and be super nice to her. The 2024 tax season officially began on Monday, January 29. Most taxpayers have until Monday, April 15 to submit our 2023 returns and to pay the taxes that we owe. I hasten to say that taxpayers who cannot file in time may request an extension before that April 15 deadline. Please be advised an extension to file is not an extension to pay taxes. The IRS recommends that owed taxes always be paid on time to avoid any penalties and any interest. Before we start the panel, I want to share an exciting overview of ways that your family can actually save money thanks to tax credits that have been created by the Inflation Reduction Act that we passed just a few years ago. Families that purchased a new electric vehicle in 2023 may qualify for a tax credit of up to $7,500. And a tax credit of up to $4,000 is available for used electric cars. In 2024, families shopping for electric vehicles may qualify for a tax credit at the point of sale, an immediate discount off of the total price of the electric vehicle at the time of purchase. The Inflation Reduction Act also created the Residential Clean Energy Tax Credit, which helps lower the cost of clean energy improvements to your home. Families may qualify for a tax credit to cover 30% of the costs of installing clean energy systems like rooftop solar panels, for example, and wind and geothermal systems. Families that want to make home repairs or upgrade old appliances may qualify for the Energy Efficient Home Improvement Tax Credit. You can claim up to $1,200 per tax year for adding home insulation or installing efficient windows, skylights, and doors. You can also claim up to $2,000 for electric heat pumps that warm and cool your house more efficiently. You can claim the maximum annual credit amount each year for eligible improvements all the way until 2032. So these are all provisions that we passed as part of the Inflation Reduction Act to accomplish our transformation of the domestic economy and infrastructure to make it more energy efficient, to act in an effective way to deal with the problems of climate change. For a full list of Inflation Reduction Act tax credits, be sure to check out the Treasury's IRA Resource Hub. You can find that at treasury.gov/IRA-resource hub, and we'll put that up in the chat too, so you can find that. It's treasury.gov/IRA-resource hub, but we'll put it up there. You can also check out the handy IRA savings calculator from Rewiring America. Enter your family's information to find out which tax credits you might qualify for and your estimated savings per year under the Inflation Reduction Act. And that is rewiringamerica.org. And Erica, we can put that also in the chat so people can find that. That'll be great. The IRA provided historic investments in the IRS, and we've seen the agency put these new resources to very good use over the last year. Prior to these investments, the IRS was experiencing an 18% cut in its budget over the last 2 decades. The agency had to dramatically reduce staffing, it had to cut over 20,000 jobs, even as its responsibilities continue to expand. It processed millions more tax returns each year and implemented new legislative mandates from us in Congress, but its resources were dwindling. With the investments from the IRA, with the recognition that we need the IRS to be functioning effectively and efficiently if we're going to have everybody pay their taxes. Nobody loves paying taxes, but what people hate is the idea that wealthy people and corporations can get away with paying nothing. So we're putting the proper money into the IRA, and the IRS has been able to make the following improvements to taxpayer services with the new money, with the new staffing. It's expanded in-person service at taxpayer assistance centers. It has increased help available on the toll-free line and expanded customer callback capacity. It's answered more than 7.5 million calls during the 2023 tax filing season, an increase of over 65% from the prior year. It's reduced the average call wait time from 28 minutes, and I know that's infuriating to my constituents, to 3 minutes, which is not an unreasonable wait. American taxpayers deserve a headache-free filing experience, and I will continue advocating for robust resources for the agency. And in my capacity as the ranking Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, I will also make sure that the IRS is responding effectively and efficiently to the requests of my constituents. We are closely tracking this year's tax season progress. We're looking for opportunities always to improve the tax filing process, and feel free to share your ideas with us as well. Each year, the average American taxpayer spends 13 hours and more than $250 preparing their taxes. We're going to make sure that goes down. There's no reason we should have to spend 13 hours doing our taxes, and there are countries on earth which simply send you what you owe. If you owe below a certain amount, they just tell you what you owe. You write the check and it's done. That's less than an hour. I support the Tax Filing Simplification Act, legislation that would provide most Americans with a tax return that is already prepared by the IRS. Most people have very simple returns. Most people have one job, a W-2. That's their sole or main source of income. Maybe there's some interest income. Maybe there's some dividends. All of that can be done by the government. That's how it's done in 36 countries like Germany and Japan and the UK. The tax authorities calculate your tax liability, and taxpayers then have a chance to review and to pay the taxes that they're owed. Meantime, we've got $1 billion plus industry in private tax preparers. That doesn't exist in a lot of countries on earth because the government takes that responsibility. Currently, taxpayers who make under $79,000 a year can take advantage of the IRS's free file program, which allows you to file your income taxes online at no cost. I've been a strong advocate of allowing the IRS to develop a free online tax prep service available to all taxpayers, regardless of their income. And thanks to investments from the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRS is piloting a free tax filing software available to all taxpayers, regardless of income, in certain states this year. I'm hopeful that Marylanders will be able to take advantage of this direct file program during next year's tax season. So we are working on ways to simplify and clarify, and it's getting better, but we can do a whole lot more. My staff and I are here always to help you with any IRS related issue. I thank you all for participating today. You can reach us, as you know, at 301-345-1000. We'll make that available to you online again, 301-345-1000. And I will now turn it over to the birthday girl, Erica Fuentes, who will introduce our very special guests. Thank you all for being here, and I'm off to a committee meeting. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Congressman Raskin. Good morning, everyone. As Congressman Raskin mentioned, my name is Erica Fuentes, and I am the Congressman's Director of Constituent Services. I also have the honor of handling a large portion of our district's IRS casework, so I work with Kashan and Veronica very closely throughout the year. Before I introduce our honored guests, I will give a quick overview of today's event. Today, we will hear presentations from the IRS and the IRS Taxpayer Advocate Service that will provide us with vital information and tips for the 2024 tax filing season. I know that I will be taking notes because I still haven't done my taxes. So I hope that the information provided will provide you with many tips and answer some of the questions that you may have before filing your taxes. After both presentations, we will go into a quick question and answer period with whatever time is remaining. And we have selected a variety of pre-submitted questions from the registrations that we received for this event. So let me go into our introductions. We're joined today by Veronica Tubman and Kishan Russell. Veronica Tubman works for the Internal Revenue Service in the Communications and Liaison Division as the Senior Stakeholder Liaison. She focuses on providing educational outreach to small business owners, community associations, self-employed individuals, practitioners, payroll preparers, tax professionals, and other diverse groups. Maintains open lines of communications with her partners and encourages them to partner with IRS through stakeholder liaison. During her career, she has served in many capacities. She knows that her experiences have provided a firm foundation to collaborate with state, local, as well as federal agencies throughout Maryland. Veronica remains thankful for another opportunity to serve others. Thanks, Veronica, for joining us. Next, I'd like to introduce Kishan Russell. Kishan Russell is from Brooklyn, New York, but now resides in Brandywine, Maryland. She's a graduate of Shaw University with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, and from Strayer University with a Master of Science in Accounting and Master of Business Administration. Kishan is also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, North Arundel County Alumni Chapter. Kishan joined the Internal Revenue Service in 2008, where she served as the Internal Revenue Agent for 10 years. She became a frontline manager and CFO, Internal Controls IC, in late 2018, where she led the Quality Assurance Review Program, the Internal Control Review Program, and served as the Acting Director of Internal Reviews. Kishan currently works in the Taxpayer Advocate Service organization, which is an independent organization within the IRS as a local taxpayer advocate for the state of Maryland. In this role, she manages a team of trained, highly dedicated employees in solving tax problems, easing the taxpayers' burden and frustration, and protecting taxpayers' rights in dealing with the IRS. Thank you, Kishan. So I believe Kishan will be starting us off with the first presentation.
Before I get into the tax problems, once again, my name is Kishan Russell. I am the local taxpayer advocate for the Taxpayer Advocate Service. I just want to let y'all know a little bit about the organization before I talk about the tax tips. Okay, so the National Taxpayer Advocate is Erin M. Collins. She's the one that goes to Capitol Hill and advocates to gain us more money so we can advocate on your behalf. She is located in Washington, D.C. For the local taxpayer advocate office, which is in Baltimore, Maryland, this is the contact information that you can reach my office. The intake, if you decide that you need our services for any particular reason, you would complete a form 911. You can fax it in to our office fax number, which is 855-821-0238. Okay. Who are we? The Taxpayer Advocate Service, we're an independent organization within the IRS. As Erica mentioned before, we advocate for the taxpayer on their behalves. We advocate for individual taxpayers, business taxpayers, nonprofit taxpayers, and so much more. So we are the office that is here to help you when you're experiencing issues with the IRS, whether it is waiting on a refund, having issues with collections, and they got a levy on your account, you're trying to pay a tax and you're having difficulty, you need a tax abatement, anything such as that, you can come to our office and we can, if we're able to assist you, we'll start a case for you. You'll have one case advocate that will work your case from beginning to end, and they're here to be, to assist you in resolving or relieving, any situation that you have with the IRS. So. So with that being said, we have a couple of pre-filing tips to help you in navigating the 2023 tax season. I know I just did my taxes, and whew, anytime you have just that one little extra thing that you didn't have last year can definitely be make taxes, a little bit more difficult. So hopefully the information that I provide to you will be helpful in your tax preparation for this year. So before you file, I need you to follow these tax tips. It's very important because it can delay you in the tax return processing. And I know a lot of times when people are experiencing delays, that's when they typically come to our office for assistance. So in order to try to mitigate those delays, just listen, and like Erica said, we'll have some questions at the end. So first, make sure that you have all of your year-end statements. I know I saw something that came in my mail just the other day. I mean, fortunately, it's something that I don't need, but sometimes there are 1099s or W-2 forms that come in late. So it's important for you to, one, know where you're getting your income from. How are you earning that income? So you make sure that you have all the necessary statements that you need, because the IRS do reconcile this information back to what's on in our systems, because these 1099s and W-2s, the IRS gets a copy of that information. So it's important to make sure that you're reporting all of your income on your tax return. So having all of those year-end statements is vital. No matter if it's wages, which is on a W-2 or a 1099 or even 1098 statements, just making sure that you have all the necessary paperwork in order to get your tax returns started. So as I mentioned before, the IRS compares your statements to what's on their systems. They check for accuracy, and they try to identify different fraudulent refunds that could potentially be sent out based off of people omitting information. Okay. Double check the information that is correct. If you have a spouse and you're filing a joint return, make sure that that information is correct. If you have a dependent that works, make sure that, and you're reporting them on your tax return, make sure that that information is correct as well. Make sure that you're checking all the credits and the deductions that you are eligible for. It's so many credits and debits that's out there, and a lot of times people, they may feel like they may be eligible, but they're not answering the questions properly, especially if you're going through like TurboTax or Tax Act or something like that. Sometimes those questions can be difficult and very confusing. So it's important to, reread that information, make sure that you understand what you're saying yes or no to, make sure that you're making sure that you are actually eligible for those different deductions that or credits that you're claiming on your tax returns. So there are some family related credits, and I know people love these family related credits because it kind of helps you decrease your adjustable gross income. So I'm going to click on to show you some of the credits that you may be eligible for. Let's see. Okay. So individual credits. So you have, if you're a parent or a caretaker, there's credits for that. So you have, adopted child, dependent care credit. There are also child tax credits that can be claimed. There is EITC for people with families. So there's a various amount of tax credits that can be taken. And a lot of times what happens is, some folks don't understand what they're entitled to. So it's important that if you go to irs.gov, you can always do a search on that website to find out information on different things that you want, whether it is EITC or the child tax credit or other types of credits that's up there. So it's important for you to do your research. that's going to be the main thing. Do your research, because a lot of times, somebody could come to you and say, hey, you're entitled to this credit, but you have to make sure that yourself that you're entitled to this credit, because, at the end of the day, when you sign your tax return, you sign it under perjury or penalty. And if there's anything incorrect on that tax return, you are the sole person that is responsible for that. And if it's joint, it's going to be both you and your spouse. So it's very important that, you're doing your own verification and your own research. Okay. So with the, know your earned income tax credit requirements, as I said before, you can get that information on the IRS website, but some of the things that, they have an EITC assistant tool on the IRS website as well. So if you use this tool for assistance, it says use the EITC assistance tool. I'll do like a quick little walkthrough through it. So what tax year would you be filing? It has 2023. Were you a citizen? Yes. So it's just interactive. Do you have a valid social security number? My answer would be yes. Are you filing form? My answer would be no. I wouldn't be filing for foreign earned income. Will someone else claim you as a dependent? The answer is no. It says, and then please select the range that describes your age. So this was describe my age, and I would hit next. And it says, on this step, you'll be asked how to plan. Do you plan on filing? Yes. What would be my filing status? It would be single. How many select the number of kids. I have all adult kids, so my kids would not be eligible. And it says, was your main house in the US? Yes. And then you hit next. And there's a bunch more questions. So I had wages. So I'm not going to finish going through it, but, you get the gist of, how you could determine, if you are eligible for the earned income tax credit. This is on the IRS website, and is a helpful tool. You must have a social security number for yourself and any of your qualifying children. The different filing statuses that you can have is married, filing joint, head of the household, qualified widow or widower, or single. You must be a citizen or a residence alien all year. You can't file form 2555 or form 2555 easy to report foreign or earned income and claim this credit. And you must meet rules for those without a qualifying child, or if you have a qualifying child. So there's a difference. Some people may not have a qualifying child. Some people may have a qualified child, and that will also help determine if you're eligible for that credit. So as well as with EITC, show proof of your earned income. Have investment incomes of $11,000 or less. Have a valid social security number by the due date of your 2023 return. You must meet the adjusted gross income for the filing status and be a US citizen or residence aliens. So some common errors for EITC. Sometimes people will claim children who doesn't meet the residency or the relationship requirements. So with residency, you got to provide 51%. Yeah, it's more than half of support for that taxpayer. For that dependent. Sometimes people reporting income expenses on Schedule C just to try to generate earned income tax credit. Filing head of the household when you're married. And when you're married, you only got two filing status: married, filing joint, married, filing separate. And names and social security numbers are error. Please double check. Check your tax return. Make sure that the information that you're putting on there is accurate, especially address, social security numbers, names, because all of this stuff is matched up in the IRS site, and you don't want anything to prevent you from getting your return rejected. So please make sure if you have any questions in regards to the child tax credit or the earned income tax credit, go to the IRS.gov website. It's a wealth of information on that site. So it's important to do that research. So even though we have the child tax credit, sometimes people are not eligible for the child tax credit. So they do have tax credits for other dependents, like if you're taking care of your parent, that may be disabled, or like, one of your children that's an adult that's disabled or something to that effect. You can claim them, and you're providing more than 50% of support for that person. You can claim them on your tax return. So just be careful with making sure that that dependent is eligible in order for you to have them get that credit for them. So the maximum credit for other dependents is $500 each dependent who meets certain conditions, and you're required to complete Form 8812, and you can get the instructions for Schedule 8812. The educational expenses. So if you have a dependent that is in school, there is the American Opportunity Credit. They would receive a 1098 tuition statement from their accredited university. So it's important that, one, if your student is in school but they're working and they're filing their own tax return and claim themselves, then you would not be able to take that educational credit on your tax return. But if that student is in school and is working, but it files their own tax return, but does not claim themselves, and you claim them on your return, then you should be able to take that educational credit. So it's just it's important to know if your student is claiming themselves and as a dependent, or are you going to claim them as a dependent on your tax return? That's vital. Okay, and the premium tax credit. Now, whoever asks themselves, what is this 1095-A that I get in the mail? And what is this for? A lot of people don't know what that form is for. They don't know what to do with it. That's the form that I got in the mail the other day. I'm just like, they keep sending me this form, but there's no purpose for me. But if you got insurance through the marketplace when the Affordable Care Act came out, that 1095-A can help you claim the premium tax credit. So it's important that if you received health insurance through the marketplace, that you utilize that form 1095-A and complete Form 8962 in order to get that premium tax credit. So now you know the big old secret that most people had no clue what that form was for. That is what that form is for. And as I mentioned before, all the information that I'm giving you right now, you can get off the IRS.gov website. So you identify all your credits, you identify all your deductions that you're entitled to, you reported all your income. So it's time for you to file. So make sure that you're attaching all your forms. Make sure all your schedules are there. I would review your tax return from beginning to end to make sure that everything is accurate before you submit that return. If you're sending it in paper-wise, make sure you're attaching everything together. Put everything in one envelope and make sure that I triple check my stuff. So I would encourage you to triple check just to make sure, because it's always that one time when you put something down and you realize, I didn't put everything together, and it's really difficult once you're sending things separately. So it's important that you want to send everything together. And so finding a tax return preparer. There's so many different free filing sites, but there are a lot of them are income-based. There is also, things, TurboTax Tax Act. You know, they have the free one, but then they also have where you have to pay based off of your income, every different schedule that you need to add. You also have to pay additional because, you know, that first package may only include just your, you know, you including your W-2 and some 1099s. Then you're like, oh, I got a house that, you know, that increases how much you have to pay and stuff like that. So, you know, it's up to you which one you want, whether you want to pay to have somebody do your return or you want to utilize one of the free sites if you're eligible to. There's also VITA sites out there. You can go on the IRS website in order to find the different VITA sites that's located out there. I know that right now the IRS is in a pilot program to do a direct file. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully they'll open it up to all income limits, and that would be super exciting. You can also use a tax professional. A lot of people do use tax professionals, whether it's a CPA or tax attorney, or, you know, just to have their returns prepared. But whoever you decide to use, making sure that they're reliable and trustworthy. So if you're e-filing, I would encourage that you consider doing direct deposit if you do a refund. That will help eliminate some delays. So if the IRS accepts your tax return and everything is accurate and there's no errors or anything like that, you know, I would definitely encourage you to have them direct deposit that money, because a paper check is going to take quite some time to come in the mail. And then folks will be starting to call my office. I haven't received my refund yet, but you know, you chose for a paper return, a paper check, and on the IRS website, they do have the time frames that it would take. There's also where you could check where my refund is on the IRS website as well. If you owe taxes, I would encourage you to do a direct pay. That way they will automatically take that money out of your account, you know, and you're done. I did a direct pay the other day. And as soon as the IRS accepted my return, that money was gone out of my account. I've never seen money leave that fast, but it did. But, you know, so it's more convenient, you know, when you're e-filing, it's the more efficient way. It helps, you know, alleviate some delays, because delays are really going to be based off of what the information that's received at the time. So that's just something I encourage you to do. Okay. Make sure if you're doing a paper return, make sure that the IRS site that you're sending your return to is correct. That's vital, like to know exactly where you're sending that tax return, because you don't want to send it to Philadelphia and it's supposed to be in Memphis somewhere, or you don't want to send it to Kansas City and and it's supposed to be in Philadelphia, because that's going to cause additional delays. If at any given time you need to utilize the taxpayer advocate service, we do have interpreters. Your tax forms, that you can get them in various different languages. So you can go to the IRS website and get those different tax forms that you may need. And you can also go to your tax office. Your tax office does carry hubs and instructions and returns. So we have a variety of different languages, from Spanish to French, and as you can see, they have a whole link on the IRS website for languages. Let's see what other languages we have going on. And it's ideal that they have the languages in the language. So, you can always just, scroll. I always recommend scrolling the IRS website. Like I said, it has a wealth of information. And if you want to get your forms and pubs in the different languages, you can do as well. So as you can see, the current version, they have English, they have French, German, Korean, sweet. Yeah. So it's quite a bit. And we do have interpreters. We have sign language interpreters, as well as we have language interpreters. So if you need any assistance in that realm, go to the IRS website and they could tell you the different languages. Here's the different some telephone numbers. For English and Spanish, you would call 800-829-1040. And for assistance with all other languages, it's 833-553-9895. And, you know, for those that maybe have a disability, well, you know, if they are visually challenged, they have Braille, where you can get different forms in Braille as well. And anytime you want some alternative media, the form is 9,000 to request that. And the telephone number is 800-829-1040. Yeah. So that's all I have for you. On that note, you know, as I mentioned before, all the information that we have here with different tips and tools, they are on the IRS website. I know Veronica is going to give y'all even more information, you know, and she's going to know a little bit more than I do. So I just encourage y'all to, you know, do your research, you know if you're going to pay somebody, just make sure that they're trustworthy and, you know, they're going to do right by you, because at the end of the day, you are the person solely responsible for your tax return. So I encourage you to learn as much as you possibly can, and, you know, good luck with filing your taxes.
Thank you so much, Keyshawn. We work in conjunction and very close proximity with the taxpayer advocate, and we thank them for their assistance. And then I'm going to get started. A lot of the information, the good information that Keyshawn shared with us, I will not repeat. The information will be sent to you as a reference. So always know that we are always available to assist you in any capacity. Again, my name is Veronica Tubman, and I want to thank you all so much for taking time out to join with Congressman Raskin's office, the taxpayer advocate, and for stakeholder liaison. So I'm just going to share some updates with you for the 2024 tax filing season. And the purpose of this is to give you resources and to guide you through our current tax season. So we're moving along, and then we're going to look at the third slide, which talks about navigating through the IRS. And so we're on the third one, Keyshawn, thank you. So as Keyshawn indicated, we want you to look at the irs.gov website, and we want you to utilize the search engine box in the upper right-hand corner and put your information in. What is your question? Millions of taxpayers take advantage of this. It's easy to use. It's available 24 hours, 7 days a week. And this is what our actual website looks like. So we just want you to be really vigilant about that. And also know that we have great help tools that will get you through where you need to be. And so as another reference, Keyshawn shared with us about the different languages. What I have provided, these are active links that will let you know about the different languages that are available through the IRS. And we are moving on. If you have any questions that we talked about, on our next slide, we're talking about questions. And if you need help, all of the information that is provided on our presentations have active links. So no worries, we've got you covered. So just make sure that you take advantage of these really good resources. And then now we're going to talk about publication 5136. And that's your IRS services guide. And we know that if you have any questions, all of the active links that are presented in this guide can help you, your family, if you are a business owner, your clients. And it's really good because everything is downloadable for electronic distribution. So that makes life a lot easier. So now we're taking a look at our IRS Interactive Tax Assister. And just remember that when you utilize these services, it will help you with your child tax credit. It will help you with your earned income tax credit. And any information that you put into the the interactive tax assistance opportunity, it's not maintained. So once you get out of the system, your information is removed. So don't worry, we're not storing your information. And as stated before, we're looking at the online accounts. Always know that if you can set up an online account on our next slide, you can utilize an ID, password assistance. You can go in and check on your refund. You can go in and check on transcripts for yourself if you like to make payments online, if you have an IP PIN, if you have unfortunately been the victim of ID theft, and if you have loans or things of that nature and they need to verify your information. So that is another option through the ID services. Moving along, we're looking at the IRS online accounts that we talked about a little earlier. Very good to have, and all of the options that are available for you. And as stated, these are references for you. All of the links are active. And we just talked about our Taxpayer Assistance Office. They are open around the country from 7:30 to 6 o'clock at night. And now we have Saturday hours. So just go online and just put TAC in the search engine in the upper right-hand corner, and then you will find out the local office that is available to you. Make an appointment and come on in. We would like to help you. Next, we will have services by the Taxpayer Assistance Center that we talked about, and we call them TAC. It's an acronym, unfortunately. That's another acronym. And please make sure you come in the TAC office. Those employees do not prepare tax returns. They will help you with any questions. You have a bill, or if you've received a notice, they will provide that type of assistance. So now that we are all ready, the advocate got us all ready on our next slide to get ready to go. We are ready to file, and we are moving right along. So a little ways down, we are ready, and we're looking at publication 5348, which tells us what to do as a reference, and we're just going to keep pushing forward. And there are free tax return preparation that Keyshawn reminded us about that are within the community for individuals that are $64,000 or less. We really want to get to the child tax credit and the recovery rebate credit, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. So again, here's a great reference for free tax return preparation file services on our next slide. It will provide you with a video representation of what is available for you to make sure that you have exactly the information that you need. Moreover, we're going to keep moving on, and we're on our 2 slides down. We are talking about tax-free preparation and filing, which we already covered. In the same respect, what's really important? How do I choose a return preparer to meet my needs? And this particular link from irs.gov, make sure you keep it as a favorite. All of this information, we want you to utilize the active links and keep them as favorites for future reference so that you will have them. This will let you know that that person is qualified, they've been tested, and they are compliant with all the requirements by IRS to prepare tax returns. So next, we're talking about who do you trust to prepare those returns. Take a look at that person to make sure that they do provide the service that they said they would provide. But moreover, on our next 2 slides down, we're going to talk about how to report a suspected abusive preparer. If you go in and get your return prepared and someone says they can guarantee you a refund without seeing your information, that is not a very viable option for you. So we want you to, if you see that, please make sure. If it's too good to be true, it generally is. So you can give us a call. My information is available, and so is Keyshawn Russell's information if you run across this. However, you can still report that on your own. And for tax refund status, who doesn't want to know where their tax refund is? So we have a function on irs.gov, 24 hours, 7 days a week, whenever it's convenient for you to find out, hey, where's my refund? To find out where and when those monies are coming. This is an option you can use on your cell phone as well. So our cell phone is kind of like a little computer in our pocket. So now we're looking at where's my refund. We have the IRS To Go app. That particular function, as we stated, is something that you can use on your any type of cell phone media, on perhaps even on your tablet. And then, as we stated before, as much as you can check your refund, well, you can pay for that as well as you go along if an outstanding tax debt that is due. But moreover, you can make that payment. You may need a transcript, or there are other services that you may be in need of. So keep that in mind. You just may want to get a transcript to make sure that you included all the information that is available to you. So moving right along, we're going to take a look at making sure that the information is there, it's IRS to go is there, I've made my payment, and then we're going to take a look at the paycheck checkup. Make sure that you have adequate withholding. In my particular situation, my husband works intermittent overtime, so I had to make sure I increased my withholding, or I had to make estimated tax payments. So you may want to do a paycheck checkup throughout the entire year. And also, as we stated, we have a withholding estimator. This particular tool works very well. It will tell you if you are in a position to make sure that you are compliant for the year. So sometimes it's really good to pay a little more than is necessary. And then we're looking for things to do year round. Make sure that you maintain those records. Make sure that you keep accurate records. So when it's time to file, everything is available for you to file. And also, if you're making money selling things and provider of a service, is this a hobby or is this actually something that I would like to do? So we're going to talk about those refundable credits that is so important for this time of year. As Congressman Raskin indicated, we have the Earned Income Tax Credit, Child Tax Credit, the American Opportunity Credit. Now that's for qualifying education expenses. So don't forget that if you have kids in school, you are eligible. And also that health insurance that he discussed a little bit earlier. So next we're looking at publication 962, talked about that Earned Income Tax Credit. So you already have that referenced, and that link is available from irs.gov. And then we're taking a look at that Earned Income Tax Credit Assister. Am I eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit? And this will help you make that determination. But moreover, for the Child Tax Credit, don't walk away leaving money on the table. The credit is up to $2,000 per qualifying child, and a portion of the Child Tax Credit is refundable from 2023. So just make sure that you get that file as soon as possible. The additional Child Tax Credit, not leaving money on the table, is $1,600 per child. So keep that in mind. And there's that eligibility tool that we had a discussion about. Also, we are talking about the American Opportunity Tax Credit. Lots of great credits for this current filing season. So please don't miss out. Don't walk away and leave money on the table, because we know that we all need those funds. But just as a quick reminder, don't forget the 2021 Expandable Child Tax Credit, the 2021 Recovery Rebate Credit, and the 2022 Recovery Rebate Credit. It is not too late. You know, you could receive an excess of $18,600 if you combined all of these refundable credits. And that's really an important thing. So as we said, we have lots of wonderful publications for you to read. We have lots of references for you to read, for you to bookmark, and to make sure you take advantage of those. So the next few slides are just references regarding the same thing. Eligible taxpayers have until May 17th to make sure you get that 2020 and that 2021 Recovery Rebate Credit up and going. And if you need help with a tax preparer to get your tax return done in another language, this is another great resource for you to take advantage of. So while we're talking about taking such great advantage of your information, we want you to protect against identity theft. So we have a tax guide, a taxpayer guide that will help you do all of that. If someone, IRS, we don't call you, we don't ask you for information. If an IRS agent calls on you on the phone, then we're required to give you our name and our badge number. If you are not sure if that person is valid, take their information and feel free to give me a call. I would be more than happy to verify that information for you. Make sure you dispose of anything that you don't need, and make sure it's disposed of properly. So any tax-related identity theft or data breach or any of those things like that, stakeholder liaison will be more than happy to assist you with that as well. And security awareness. Change those passwords periodically. Don't write things down. Make sure you have two-factor authentication, which is really important. So now we have this really, the worst tax scams are the dirty dozens. And these scams, sometimes they look like they're too good to be true and you're not really sure. So take a look on irs.gov. There are 12 of them that are very prevalent. We don't want you to become a victim. And unfortunately, if you become a victim for the filing season and forward, you're going to have to get an identification protective pin or an IP pin, and that's what we call it. So we want to make sure that you are well protected. And then as you go along and things get better, you will be enrolled in the program, and then you will have the option of opting out of the program. And we have those references for you as well. So believe it or not, IRS is on social media, and we are in IRS News, IRS in Espanol, and for tax security purposes as well. So coming along, we have a big old promotion filing season for you. And that bundle gives all the references that are available. And at this time, I thank you so much. I wish you and your family the best. And I am turning everything back over to Erica. Erica, you're up.
Thank you, Veronica. And thank you also, Kishan. Those were both amazing presentations with so much information. I learned a lot, and I'm sure Congressman Raskin's constituents did as well. Before we wrap up, we are going to go into our Q&A and just pull a few, or a couple, I should say, of the questions that were pre-submitted. So our first question is from Linda in Rockville. And Kishan, this is a big question because I get this one a lot. What is the Taxpayer Advocate Service? Is it IRS? What is it exactly? Can you explain it?
The Taxpayer Advocate Service is not necessarily considered IRS. We are an independent organization within the IRS. So even though, we kind of fall under the IRS umbrella, we follow our own rules and regulations on how we handle things. It's important just to remember that we're helping you resolve issues that you may be having with the IRS. Whether it's you're experiencing a financial hardship, whether it's a systemic issue where there's a system problem and is causing a delay with anything that you may have, whether it is some kind of barrier and you're waiting for the IRS to respond back to you, and it's been more than 30 days and you still haven't heard back from them. And I know lately people been getting those 60-day notices. So we've been getting a whole lot more cases because the IRS is like, I'll get back to you in 60 days. And then they'll send you another notice. I get back to you in 60 days. So those are times when you come to my office for help. So that way we can help try to get you an answer. It's not going to be always we can resolve whatever the problem is, but what we will try to do is get you relief if we can't resolve the problem. And, you'll have that one person that's going to work with you from beginning and end until that case is closed. I've literally taken personal interest in some of these cases when, my case advocates are, bumping their heads with folks trying to get things pushed through and stuff. And then I got to get on the phone and, so now I'm talking to the taxpayer every other week or every other month or whatever about their case, because I want them to know that, yes, my case advocates are working on this and they are advocating on your behalf, but we also as leadership have an added investment in helping you and making sure that your stuff get either resolved or relieved.
Thanks. That really clears things up. Thank you. Veronica, I have a question for you from Elizabeth in Tacoma Park. She asks, how long must we keep supporting documentation for individual and also business tax returns?
Okay, so everyone, please remember that you need to maintain your information for as long as the service can take a look at your tax return. There really isn't a guide. Some people say 7, some people say 10. So I would strongly encourage you to maintain that information for as long as that tax return has been filed. If you want more details on that, you can go right on irs.gov and they will give you some particulars. But it is moreover, the burden of proof falls on you if that return is selected for audit. So you just may want to keep that in mind to make sure that you're keeping good records. Now we have great technology. You can scan it. You can put it on a thumb drive. You don't have to keep all that paperwork. And so there are various mechanisms to maintain that information. 7 to 10 years is the rule. However, I would strongly encourage you to make sure you go on irs.gov and take a look at it.
Thank you. Yes, that's good advice. We see that a lot. So the next question, either of you can answer, so feel free. It's from Nancy in Bethesda. She asks, unfortunately, I missed filing last year. What's my recourse? I was dealing with my mom's passing.
Well, I would encourage her to go ahead and file now. Don't delay it any longer because the interest and penalties does add up for each day that you have not filed that return. And if there's based off of what the question was, there sounds like a mitigating circumstance. They can also, if they never received an abatement before, they can request a first time abatement, and they'll determine based off the facts, to make that determination.
Thank you. Veronica, the next question's for you, from Mary in Silver Spring. She asked, can you claim older dependents? Specifically, she's talking about a 22-year-old. And can you claim them and file them for taxes to secure a refund?
Okay, so just remember, on irs.gov, we have lots of really great frequently asked questions.
We apologize for the technical difficulties. Our webinar unfortunately ended prematurely, and we didn't get to finish our question and answer portion for that. I'm truly sorry, but if you have any remaining questions, please feel free to reach out to our office, and I'm happy to get the responses to those questions for you. To wrap up today's event, I just want to send a huge thank you to Veronica Tubman and to Kishan Russell for taking the time out of their day to speak to Congressman Raskin's constituents today. And I also want to thank you all, the attendees, for participating in today's event. We truly hope that it has been beneficial to you. If you missed part of today's event or would like to share this event and presentations with any of your family members, friends, coworkers, etc., this event will be available on Congressman Raskin's YouTube channel in the coming days. And this link you can share with whoever you'd like to share it with. Before closing, I do want to share that if you are a constituent of Maryland's 8th Congressional District and are experiencing an issue with the IRS, that you may be having issues resolving yourself, please feel free to contact our office by calling 301-354-1000. Again, that's 301-354-1000. You can also visit our website, raskin.house.gov, and go to the services tab and scroll down to help with a federal agency to see all the different options that are available for you to complete a constituent service request form. We will need that to contact the IRS on your behalf. We can help put you in touch with the amazing folks at the IRS TAS office that Kishan leads, or anyone at the IRS who may be able to assist us with resolving that problem. Thank you again, and we hope to see you again in the 2025 tax filing season for next year's information session. Have a good day.